Ladies and gentlemen, Seahawks and football fans everywhere, a very warm welcome back to the We Talk Seahawks podcast. I hope you've all been doing well. It's been a little while, so if you are back with us, thank you for your patience. We have been away for a little while, lots of stuff going on outside the pod, but we're back now. If you're just joining us tonight for the first time, then welcome in. My name is James. I am the co-host of the We Talk Seahawks podcast. To my left or to my right, I'm not sure how it's coming up on your screen, but there is the beautiful bald head of Pez, my right-hand man, has been since day one, positive Pez himself. Hello there, EW_Cakes. How you doing, mate? Good to see you in here. Yeah, this is really, really exciting. We're entering a new age of the pod. We're relaunching it with in partnership with Orkney Bull and Johnny, the legend that he is. So thank you very much for doing this, Johnny, with us. We're really excited to relaunch our pod with you guys. We're going to be talking all stuff free agents tonight, trades, all off-season stuff, just a bit of a catch-up on all that stuff before we get to the draft. We're going to be talking Geno Smith, DK Metcalf, all that good stuff, Cooper Kupp, you know it. We will talk about it. But that's enough from me. That's my welcome back. Pez, how have you been?
Good, mate. Good.
Good.
A lot of chaos. You're right, Everett. He's in the Orkney Bowl himself. Catch up. He's been on the fantasy pod a couple of times. Did get me confused with Kelly, the American guy who I do it with. Was offended at the start, but no, top fella. So actually, our very first teaming up with Johnny in his Orkney Productions. He's kind enough to sort us out with a studio and let us stream through his YouTube. So Everett's our very first viewer, and I'm not expecting to get that many tonight. I'll get better as we go along. Being like the behind the scenes guy, I normally rely on you for that. Nice. But I will get better, and I'll put it in the Orkney Bowl chat. And I know there's a couple of Seahawks guys in there, and then we can share it around and spread it about. Everett's already gone, so
absolutely. Well, that's just the effect we have on people, isn't it, Pez? That's just the effect. We hit record and people leave. That's just we come to know that we've been doing this long enough. It's really good, really exciting, really happy to be launching this with Orkney Ball and Johnny. So yeah, really, really big thank you to all the guys over there. Really excited. So we're not going to waste any more of your time. Let's just crack straight into it, Pez. We've been away long enough. I've been itching to talk Seahawks, so I'm not going to waste any time. We're going to start with the main man himself, the main move of the offseason so far, the big headline. Geno Smith traded to the Las Vegas Raiders. The Geno Smith era is over in Seattle. Obviously, the Seahawks getting a third-round pick in return for Geno Smith. Pete Carroll gets the quarterback he fell in love with and rebirthed his career in Seattle. He gets him back to try and turn around that franchise in Las Vegas. Seahawks getting some nice day 2 draft capital in return. Really, really interesting move, this one. I honestly didn't see it coming. I thought he would run down his contract with us or sign a new contract. I didn't think we'd trade him this offseason. So when that news broke, my initial thought, and we're going to get to him in a moment, was I can see DK Metcalf going with him. Because that's what you tend to get. You see that a lot. The quarterback goes and then the number one receiver goes as well. But we'll get to DK in a little bit. Let's start with Geno. Obviously, he was coming up wanting a new contract. That was no secret. Obviously, wanting in the $40 to $45 million range. It's a lot of money for a 34-year-old quarterback who has his flaws. We've seen that. We talked about Geno endless times on this podcast. A good quarterback, and good quarterbacks are hard to come by, obviously. We all know that. But the money that he wanted, his age, obviously turnovers were quite a big issue for Geno last year, as good as his touchdown passing was. So it's a really, really interesting crossroads move that I didn't see coming this off season. But I'm going to be fascinated to see how we get on, how he gets on in Las Vegas over there back with Pete Carroll. And I can see this being a trade that really we look back on from both sides, and both sides go, do you know what, we're happy with what we got. I think the Raiders will be happy that they got Geno Smith, and they'll be happy with what he'll bring them in their franchise. You know, they've been dying for a quarterback for a long time. So they'll be happy with what they're going to get from Geno, and I think we'll be happy that we don't have to pay him the kind of money that he's going to be paid in Las Vegas. We get a day 2 pick, round 3 pick, which we can invest this year and build this young team up more. So I think it's a win-win for both teams, in my opinion. And I think really he served his purpose really in Seattle. We rebirthed his career, and I think he kind of reached or took us as far as he could take us really. And I think he is the kind of quarterback that needs to go and play for a Raiders team in terms of how they're looking at it, is that he's their bridge quarterback that can get them back up to a 500 plus 500 team, ready for the next young quarterback to take over, ready to lead them into a playoff era. Is what the thinking will be in Las Vegas, I'm sure. So yeah, I think it's a win-win for both teams. Pez, what do you think, my friend?
1 second, I'm just playing around with the screen. Yeah, I am not liking that screen. And why are you
good?
Like, why are we like really close to each other?
It's because you're pushing buttons, my friend. We look beautiful before you started pushing buttons.
Yeah, I know. I can't help myself.
Shocking.
But oh no, that's just me.
Oh no,
right.
yeah. You know, that's all right. You know, you take me off the screen, mate. It's your show.
We can fuck around like this now. No one's watching. But yeah, with Geno, you were right in everything you were saying. I'm glad, like, you started hearing the numbers he wants, and I'm dreading it. I'm hearing John and Mike saying, "Oh yeah, Geno's our guy, and it's like, not at that fucking price. He isn't. Not a chance is he at that price. Like, he. I don't know how I don't know what he's done except for personal stats, but I don't know how they benefit a team. Except for personal stats, how he thinks he deserves that much. And I don't think the Raiders think that as well, because the Raiders haven't given him that money yet.
You
know what I mean? Like, the Raiders haven't signed him to a contract. So it's almost like, what are they planning to do?
Yeah.
Johnny's asking what's happened to the background, and I really don't know. I fucked around with it.
It's the first one. We're pushing buttons. We're pushing the limit.
He's going to come in a minute and start shouting at me or something.
Naughty school kid.
God, this is why I'm not put in charge. This is why I'm not put in charge of fancy stuff like this. Wow. I'm just not allowed. Just not allowed. Right, there's me again, there's you. So I've lost the logo he spent a lot of time doing, and now he's going to shout at me.
Shocking.
Right. Hopefully he might be able to help me as we ramble through this.
Good.
So I it's a weird one, right? Because I'd say I'm happy with the outcome, like you said. It's best for both worlds. But we're going to get onto him in a minute, so I don't want to steal your thunder on that, like I always like to do. But not for Sam fucking Darnold. Like, he frightens me. I'd rather keep Geno. He scares the living shit out of me. Geno, like you said, you summed it up quite well, really, in the best way of summing it up. He served his purpose. He got what he wanted. His career's revived. He's going to a new team. Probably eventually get paid. They'll end up working something there to find the sweet spot. He'll probably end up taking more to what Seattle wanted to pay him in the first place, and then you're scratching your head going, why don't you just sign that with Seattle? What then gives us great stuff to talk about, but it would be interesting to see what he eventually pays. I can't see him just running down this contract he's got at the moment when he wanted 45 million or whatever fucking outrageous number he started chucking out there. But I'll transition nicely for you into Sam Darnold. On the flip side of the coin, he scares the living shit out of me. Some people are really excited. So for me, him and Gino are the same. He might have had one good year, but him and Gino are bang average quarterbacks, and you're either at the top of it or you're like, it's layered for me. The bang average, you bang average quarterback. It's a layered thing for me, and I personally think Gino's higher than Darnold. He scares the fucking shit out of me because we don't have an offensive line. Don't get me wrong, it kind of scares John as well by the looks of how he structured the contract, where it's like a 1 year deal. As my dog decides to start barking, it's a 1 year deal, and so it kind of shows that they're a bit suspect of him coming in as well. She's decided now to come in the kitchen and join me.
Oh, good. We've got a viewer then.
Oh no, we've got two. We're up to two. That's probably Johnny and Martin.
Oh, yeah. Lovely. And when the takeaway guy comes for you as well, he can come in as well. So that'll be three.
Sinead might want to say hi.
Oh, there's four. Oh, there's three. Never mind then. Right.
But yeah. So what are your thoughts about Sam Darnold? Because you're a lot more it's not elegant, is it? What's the word I'm looking for?
I'm happy with that. I'm happy
elegant.
With elegant.
All right, you're elegant. I just call him crap and fucking start talking all the shite.
Yeah. No, listen, I think we're in a better quarterback spot now than we were with Gino. I think we're in a better position with Darnold as our quarterback on the contract that he's on than we were with Gino, in my opinion. 3 years, 100 million, 0.5 million, whatever it is, 100 million. Only about 50 of it, 55 is guaranteed, I think, isn't it? So it's you're getting Sam Darnold for 3 more years at 10 million a year cheaper than you're going to be getting Geno Smith. So you're going to save over the course of his 3 years, if he stays at 3 years, that is Darnold, then you're going to be saving about $30 million over the course of that 3 years than we would have had on Geno. Now, if you're saying that Sam Darnold and Geno Smith are the same quarterback, then surely getting the same quarterback and saving 10 million a year is an excellent move. We're in a far better position. That 10 million can help you go and re-sign a star player. It can help you go and get a decent free agent, and it just helps you on the cap situation. And for me, I think Darnold was better than Geno last year, in my opinion. From what I saw and looking at the stats and the numbers, Darnold had a better year than Geno. So I'm happy. I think the question that you've always had on Geno, whenever we've talked about Geno, is the kind of character issues and, is he a great locker room guy? Listen, we're not in that locker room, so we can't say for definite. But what you can say from what you saw in Minnesota and everywhere that Darnold's been is that he absolutely is a locker room guy, and the players absolutely love him. You saw all the videos coming out of Minnesota last year of him in the locker room. You can offense and defense, special team, they were all right behind him. So I think that's a great sign that he is. You're going to have absolutely no issues or no questions regarding that with Darnold. I think in terms of the offensive line playing behind, I think he's better on the move, throwing on the move than people were giving him credit for. People are talking about, well, he's got no offensive line, so he's just going to crumble. I don't think that's the case. Throwing under pressure and everything like that, I don't think that's the case. So I think Listen, I'm really happy with the move. I'm happy with how it's structured. I'm happy with the money that we're going to be saving. I think Darnold will fit our new offensive scheme better than Gino will. So I think it's a really good move, and we get about, what is it, 6-7 years younger at the quarterback position as well. I think it's a good move. I think it's a really good move. Not often do you get to trade away a quarterback like Geno Smith and bring in a quarterback that's just thrown for 4,300 yards and 35 touchdowns as an immediate replacement on a cheaper contract. That's how I see it.
I do agree where you're coming from, the contract and the things and the cap space, and I don't mind overall where we are at the moment. It doesn't overall bother me, but does it not bother you the fact that he had a good offensive line, and then when his offensive line decided not to turn up, he had his 2 worst games of the season?
But is that not Geno as well? Is that not the case for Geno?
Yeah, but Geno, I was going to say this, Geno is similar because he could never sense pressure if it fucking saved his life. Like, he's like, there'll be a guy just like, he just couldn't sense it at all, just run into people, fucking get absolutely weathered. So yeah, it is similar. I just think I'm just a bit biased, a bit worried about, just showing the 1 year of really good, but we're here now, aren't we? So that's not what we can discuss about. We can discuss this more in the off season when we've got F4 to talk about, and we can get a bit more deeper into that. But overall, the moves that have been made through the Geno trade and things like that with the extra cap and stuff, I'm quite happy where we are. Overall, he does scare the shit out of me, though, I'm not going to lie.
I totally understand that. The fact is that he has had one good career year, and that was kind of the same with Geno after his first breakout year here. It was like, well, yeah, he did play well that first season, but it's his first year. You're always worried whether you're paying for a fluke or whether it's not a fluke. Time will only tell. But I think one team was going to sign Sam Darnold, and I think after trading away Geno, I think I'm glad that we were the team that picked up a 4,000-yard quarterback with 35 touchdowns. I'm glad we've got him, and somebody else in our conference or division or whatever didn't. You're seeing the Rams, with Matt Stafford. I think we're in a better, for using that as an example, I think we're in a better quarterback position than the Rams are with Matt Stafford and their contract with him. And so I think there's lots of positives to it, and I think I think it'll be a good move for us. I really do. So let's get on to DK. As you said, we've got plenty of time in this offseason to get even more into these players. Let's get into DK. Obviously traded away to the Pittsburgh Steelers for a 2nd-round pick and a 7th-round pick, with the Seahawks sending a 6th-round pick to Pittsburgh, I believe. Or is it? 6th round. Yeah. We sent 6th round. We got 7th back.
6-7 swap.
Yeah. So I know when me and you were talking about it, before he was traded, that we'd like to think we could get a 1st-round pick for DK. Obviously, I think, I said at the time that I'd like to think we'd get one. I think when he's at his best, he is absolutely a 1st-round pick worthy trade package talent, if you get what I mean. He's a 1,000-yard plus receiver when he's at his best. He's a Pro Bowl, All-Pro receiver when he's at his very best. I don't think anyone would doubt that. Or question that, but he hasn't been at his best for last season, and really, I think in a lot of ways, I think probably his rookie season was arguably his best season in Seattle, and maybe it's been a bit of it's not really topped that since, in terms of like just DK being involved in the offense and what he was doing and the catches he was making and stuff like that. It seems like the rookie season DK had was kind of his best season, in my opinion, really. Off the top of my head, I don't know whether that's true stats wise, but it feels like it off the top of my head and what I remember. But certainly for the last season or two, people have been banging on about, frustrated that DK has not been involved in the offense as much. Obviously, there's been the tantrum issues at times on the field and people getting a little bit fed up with that. So it hasn't been a plain sailing Seahawks career for DK. There has been ups and downs for him, and there has been question marks on his contribution and stuff like that from Seahawks fans and from within the building and everything like that, obviously. And then I don't know whether you've seen this week, Pez, but I think it was from Brady Henderson, I believe, reporting that actually DK requested to be traded by the Seahawks a couple of times over the last couple of years. So this isn't a new thing. He's wanted out for a little while, if those reports are believed to be true. Obviously, the Seahawks have pushed it back, and fair play to him. You couldn't tell that if he's wanted to be traded for the last 2-3 years, you couldn't really tell, because I think we'd all agree that he has given it his all every time he's been out there, and he's not down tools or anything like that. There's been no obvious sign that he's wanted out. So fair play to him for that. But interesting that the Seahawks, obviously, if that's true, kept pushing it back, maybe tried to just break through with him and hope that he would eventually commit. Obviously, that's not the case. He goes to Pittsburgh, not exactly the warm environment that he was wanting, not exactly, California beach or anything like that, but they're a decent team and they're a playoff standard team potentially. So he gets the chance there to go and play. I think it's a decent return for us. I would have liked first, but I think the main thing as to why this has happened, not just because he wants out, but I think JSN just is wide receiver one now. And I think, yes, you can have multiple talented players in a team and multiple talented receivers on a team, but I think at times having those two true alphas in one receiving room, it can cause friction, and it can cause situations like this where one alpha perceives like he's not getting the ball enough, or he's not as important, and he goes, no, I'm not happy being 1B. I want to be 1A. And I think JSN's shown that he is 1A now. He is the guy moving forward. So I'm not surprised, but yeah, I'm happy and I'm sad, because I love DK. I think he's an excellent player. I think he's an all-pro player when he's at his best. But I am now also excited to finally see JSN really own this wide receiver room and lead us into the future and put our faith in him. So I don't know what your thoughts are, Pez, but I'm a little bit on the fence. I'm happy and I'm sad.
Yeah, just as we were talking then, just a quick sidebar. The Raiders and Geno Smith have agreed to terms on a 2-year contract extension. Doesn't say, yeah, it doesn't say exactly what the money is on that yet.
Interesting. So it's not a long-term commitment then, is it really? It's not a 4-year deal or anything like that.
Nah,
it's a short-term.
I think it's just as long as that's probably just as long as the Raiders expect Pete to be knocking around, to be quite honest.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
He's not the. I'm just trying to look on Twitter now whilst we're talking to see if there's actually any details to this. No, just Rappaport. 2-year extension. No numbers back. Oh no, 1 minute. Jordan Schultz has agreed to a 2-year, $85.5 million.
What? 85.5?
With 66.5 guaranteed.
Now, surely that makes you feel better about the Sam Darnold contract.
Yeah,
that's a lot of money.
He still scares the shit out of me, but I'm now happy.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money, and I'm glad we never ended up paying that. I can't do the quick maths now to even think to what
was it? 2 years, 2 years, 86.
2 years, 85.5 with 66.5 guaranteed.
So it's 42.5 million a year with 66 guaranteed, something like that.
Yeah, something like that.
It's a lot of money. A lot of money.
Yeah. So back onto DK. I was shocked by it, but also wasn't shocked by it because as new people who come and watch the show and stuff, I reference to my brother a lot because he got me into the NFL, into Seahawks, and we spoke about it and broke it down, and I'm not surprised by it because, like you said, that report, I think it came out last night, where he basically multiple times had spoke about wanting to be traded.
Yeah.
And then you hear that, and then you look, you kind of add all the breadcrumbs together, and I think if Tyler Lockett stayed, I think he would have stayed as well. It's almost like my best mate's gone. See you later. I have no reason to stay anymore. His production went downhill. I think he's gonna, depending who they're getting as quarterback at Steelers or whatever. If Aaron Rodgers is just half as serviceable, and he still has his arm, I think DK will go off at the Steelers. I really do, because I feel like he's just been held back for so many years. The frustrations and stuff like that, and it's interesting because my brother made a good comment. He said he's gone from having passion, and his passion is being aggressive, to almost being fed up. Since Gino's a starter, all 3 years, he started the year really well, and then it just came to the middle point where Gino just didn't bother looking at him anymore, almost used him more as a decoy, something you don't do with that type of player. And DK would just walk off the field and just like, whatever, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, that could be him trying to mature and not thingy. But I just kind of looked at it like he was just fed up. He just wanted out. He just sick of it. Sick of it all. And then I think the final push for him is Tyler getting cut. I think it was just convenient that Tyler got cut, and then he was like, "Nah, I'm gone now. You got rid of my best mate. There's no reason for me to be here anymore." It's like almost like Tyler was the only reason keeping him here. But on the flip side, I'm very much like last season. We kind of put the show on pause for a year, but we were still talking through the season. I don't mind it so much because I feel like now Mike's got his first full off season. We're coming into the off season. It's almost like his first full off season, so I'm not too bothered about these moves. I'm not like, famous last words. DK will probably end up just showing you exactly who he is. But like we spoke about with Gino, it's like our situation now with the cap space. Like, how many years are we talking about? We have no cap room, we have no availability, we have no nothing. And then now, almost like the world's our oyster. I have a theory on that, but I know we're going to, after the wide receivers and the moves there, we're going to get onto a bit of John Snyder and the fucking madness that he is. So I kind of save, without taking you down a rabbit hole on something else like I normally like to, I'll save that bit for the John Snyder bit, because I'm starting to see patterns. I'm starting to see some patterns emerging here. What I feel like John's dicing. He's either arrogantly over cocky that he's very much safe in his job, or he's hedging, almost like the Gino trade. I'll say this now with this Gino trade, DK trade, all about the moves he's made so far. He's double downing on himself. And the O-line. I know you'll have a fucking 10-minute rant on the O-line. But the O-line, everything he said about it, that to me just shows he is prepared to double down on himself and be like, F you all, I'm going to prove you all wrong. It's either going to pay off massively for him, or, like a lot of people want, is going to be the knife to just end him.
Yeah, well, like I say, we'll get on to him after we finish up with these receivers and stuff like that. But yes, I do have some thoughts on John Schneider and his off season regarding the offensive line. But whilst we're still on the wide receivers, let's pivot over to Cooper Kupp. How about that for a signing? Fascinating how this quarterback wide receiver tandem's now going to start working in Seattle. It's going to look a lot different, but I'm very excited. Again, I'll start with this. It's not often that you get to pivot away from a quarterback like Geno Smith, a wide receiver like DK Metcalf, and then instantly be able to pick up a Sam Darnold off the season he's had, and a player like Cooper Kupp. I mean, that is on cheaper contracts. That's some replacements that they've got straight away just off the bat to fill those voids. Really, really excited to see Cooper Kupp play in Seattle. Super excited to see him go against the Rams and hopefully put up some big days against the Rams. That'd be absolutely brilliant to see. But what player to have in this offense now, Cooper Kupp. Still in the prime of his career, might not be at the peak of his career, but still a top 10 wide receiver in the NFL when fully healthy, in my opinion. Some people may disagree with that. Some people might think he's fallen out of the top 10 now. I still think class is permanent with him, and the quality is still there with him, that when he's fully healthy and on it, I think Cooper Kupp's still a top 10 receiver in the league, in my opinion. Borderline, but he's there. And I just think he's going to add so much to the locker room. He's going to add so much to the offense. And I just think it's a really, really smart signing by the Seahawks. Like I said, it's not very often you get to go from DK to Cooper Kupp straight like that. A lot of the time you spend quite some years looking for a DK Metcalf replacement or having to fill that void, but it seems like we've gone and done it straight away, and it's the kind of signing which will still allow Jackson Smith-Njigba to be the wide receiver one. I will swear in a minute, Johnny. Don't worry, that's coming. It'll probably come in this next sentence, knowing me. It's like playing tennis with swear words, just having a rally. But it's it's a really smart sign. It's not a guy that's going to come in and overthrow JSN to be wide receiver one. It's going to allow JSN to keep being the wide receiver one. It's going to allow Cooper Kupp to come in and help JSN, help take the pressure off him. He's not going to maybe do what DK has done and say, no, I'm not happy with my target share. I want out. I think he's going to be more of like a kind of Lockett teammate in terms of, just happy to see the offense working well and happy to see players doing well and getting the ball. So that's an excellent signing for me. And then adding Marquez Valdes-Scantling in as your deep threat from the slot. I think you could do worse than that. 1 year, $5.5 million. It's nothing much really. Didn't put up 1,000 yards for the Saints or anything like that, but had a couple of 100 yards. And I think he had about sort of 4 or 5 touchdowns as well, 3, 4, 5 touchdowns last season. So I think when you actually go and watch Marquez Valdes-Scantling as well, I think you'll actually see a player that can still actually add a lot to our offense. He is a burner, one of the fastest receivers in the league. So he can take the top off a defense still. So you've just got a really, really solid wide receiver trio. When you think of losing DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett in one offseason, Pez, if that happens to a lot of teams, normally, they're panicking that they're going to have absolutely no one to throw to. There's going to be absolutely no passing attack, no teeth in that passing attack next season. It's going to take years of draft and years of off seasons to find those replacements. Well, we've been able to go out and get Cooper Kupp and someone like a Marquez Valdes-Scantling, and then we'll see what we do in the draft. See if we take a McMillan in the draft or a Golden in the draft or whoever. Which I'm sure we will take a receiver fairly early on in the draft. I'm fairly sure of that. So I still think it's like I said, to lose the guys we've lost, but to replace them with the guys we've been able to replace them with for cheaper contracts. I think it's a really solid off season. So that's my opinion on the receiver group. Pez, what do you think? Yes, there will, Johnny.
Behave yourself, Johnny. Do not get me triggered. That's all I'll say to that question. We'll save that for the.
It's a valid question.
No, fuck knows. We might do. Me and James had a conversation about this right quickly on Johnny's question about will Ken get traded away. He's brilliant. Hope maybe Kubiak's system using the both of them and not relying so heavily on him will benefit him. But them soft tissue lower leg injuries he keeps getting are becoming a real fucking pain in my ass, and they're really winding me up because it's not like I'm not getting sick of him. It's he's so fucking good, but it's like you've seen bits of it. He's just not had that season. But I could guarantee you now, James, if we traded him, say, to the Raiders, he will have a Saquon Barkley-esque season from last year. He's that
I'm
type
not
of
having
player.
that.
He's that type of player, and he's just waiting to. He just needs to stop fucking getting injured. Thank you, Johnny. Wow, me up.
Well, yeah, and what I'll say on that as well is that, and like I said to you, Pez, he doesn't fit the new system. He doesn't fit the power run system. Ken Walker is a running back that runs outside the numbers. That's where he's best. When he gets outside, down the lanes, down the sides, that's where Ken's at his best. You saw it last season in terms of finding a gap and trusting a gap. He was having so many problems running in between the tackles last season and up the middle because he didn't trust his gaps, and he's not a power back. Whereas Charbonnet, he's got no problem barreling through in between the tackles. That's what he does best. That's the power back in Kubiak's system.
Right. 1 minute. I'll stop you here because I don't do the offensive line. I'm trying to get better, educate myself, be boring and fucking look at that shit. But the conversations I've heard from John Schneider about the O-line and the reason why he's not in a rush to sign O-lineman is because he's talking about like Anthony Bradford and Haynes, who are great zone O-lineman or something. And the way he was describing it was basically O-linemen who will get out to the sides to create lanes for the running back. So that is Ken. But then you're saying he's more a power back. So he's more of a power back run style.
Who,
but then
Ken?
No, you're saying that's how Kubiak does his system.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
But then the way John's saying how the Kubiak system likes to use the old lineman, it's getting them out zoned, so blocking in the sides to create lengths, and that's more Ken's cup of tea. So I'll have to do some more YouTube video watching. Someone will have a breakdown of it somewhere for me, but you know how I'm like with all linemen. But so I'll get back onto wide receivers in a minute. So which RB would you draft? I've obviously looked at them because my two positions is linebacker and running back. I fucking love them. I can't help it every single year. So them Ohio State running backs, they're just juicy. They're just I
think you're gonna have to draft them in round one, though, aren't you? Really?
Possibly. No, I think you'd be able to. No, I feel like from all the podcasts and everything I'm listening to, really the needs of every single team, except for a few, is the trenches. It's just I think when it all comes to it, it's going to be so heavy with O-line, D-line at the start, getting them top guys that I think that will knock so many skill players down that you could end up getting some steals. There's a couple of skill players, obviously we'll do a draft talk, but like you got a couple of skill players there what will go in the first, but I think it's predominantly going to be made up of O-line, D-line. I really do. I think when it's all said and done, just because of the depth, people say the depth in them positions in this draft, but then people say the lack of quality drops off significantly. So I still think with our 2 seconds, we got some flexibility if we did go that way with the running backs, but I don't think we are because again the running back class is so deep. I just think I can't see them get rid of Ken. I really can't. But yeah, the two Ohio States, Running backs, I really like them too. As James has left me on black screen. But I'll keep on rambling on to myself. Back onto the wide receivers for myself. If Cooper Kupp can stay healthy, I think he's a really good. He's just the safe wide receiver for Sam Darnold. And everything I'm looking at is you got JSN, you got Cooper Kupp. It's almost like two guys who run short to intermediate. It's just relying on Sam Darnold to get it out as quick as they can. Get quick passes, dink and dunk, use the running back. Heavy run game to take it away from Sam Darnold, whereas the Vikings, I think, with Kevin O'Connell, were happier to leave it in Sam Darnold's hands a lot more and throw it deep. You've got your killers like Justin Jefferson and Addison in that regard, whereas I think Kubiak and the way they're going, what again to me says that I think Sam Darnold was the best available there, and I think I look at it and process the whole situation, and I feel like everything was like bing bang bow. So it's like, oh, Pete came knocking for Geno. It's like, oh, I fucking take Geno, go do him. And then it's like, right, we're gonna have to sort the title thing out. Oh, right, now DK wants to go bang bang boom, and it's like, right, who's there? It's like, well, Donald's the best of the bad bunch. Let's fucking just get him, but we don't really trust whether he's going to be able to do it. It kind of suits Kubiak's system. And let's just get him in on a kind of basic 1 year deal. If it all fucking goes tits up, we can just turf him out the door next year and not really eat any cap. So I feel like after that then settled, I think Cooper Kupp was just a safe option. JSN, very safe. Cooper Kupp, QB's best friend. JSN proved it last year. QB's best friend. Completely forgot about MVS, but look what Kubiak did with MVS last year, and now he's essentially rolling from last year with MVS and just carrying it going. So I'd expect some good production out of MVS. On a side note, I also look at MVS a bit like Derek Young. So I feel like he's a great special teamer, but I feel like MVS, for his experience in the league, I think he'd be a really good mentor for Derek Young to try and transition out of special teams into an actual wide receiver role, because he's got the speed. When he got a couple of ups, he was burning guys on the outside. He was like killing them with his fucking route and his like stutter step and stuff like that, like just having him in fits. So why not you try and utilize that guy now? Like you've almost got the superstar gone. Why not try and see what these guys are actually made of? So I do. It's just health. The writing on the wall is Cooper Kupp's going to come in and be just injured for the whole season. Everyone's going to go like, oh, fuck's sake. Well, there we go. Let's hope he just grafts his ass off, gets through it, because he's a great mentor. He's great for every single player in there. You hear about his training when he was at the Rams with Puka Nacua and how much he helped him with his development. So like JSN's still young. He's still got a lot to learn, like the development there, the safety net for Darnold. So people are bitching and moaning about it a little bit, but I think it's savvy me. I think it's really savvy, because then any young receiver you get in the draft, is how I look at that move is it's not so much you're after Cooper Kupp the player, you're after Cooper Kupp the man. Look at what they did on the old line with Peters, is it? Now they've got him in the coaching.
Yeah.
It's not about the player, it's about the man. I think Lawrence, who they signed for the D line, Jaron Reed, who they bought back. Like, it's not necessarily about their play. It's about, we have a lot of very young players and getting these veterans who are still playing at a high caliber, but getting these veterans in to teach these young guys what it is like. And I think it's a fucking brilliant move. And if it's John's move and it's John's train of thought, well, I have a feeling it could potentially be. It's a really fun. It's a really clever move to go route to go down.
Talking about bringing guys in for character building and for your locker room and stuff like that. You mentioned him there. DeMarcus Lawrence for me is another example of a great culture move. We have got some young pass rushers on that D line with the likes of Derek Hall, with the likes of Boye Mafe. We've already shown that they can produce sacks in the NFL at a good level. But in terms of like, it's similar to how when Pete first started, he drafted those guys that became. And with a real focus on, right, I need to build a culture here. I need to build a locker room here. I need to build, I need to put guys in this locker room that other players coming in are gonna look to and have leaders in that locker room. This just screams to me with the Cooper Kupp move and like with the DeMarcus Lawrence move that it's just Mike Macdonald building his culture and making, at the start of his, like you said, this is his first real full off season as the head coach. This is him building up his locker room. Now we know we've got a talented team of young players. We know we've got a lot of talented young players. What we maybe haven't had is those real big locker room leader presences. There's no Bobby Wagner here anymore. Bobby was that kind of guy, especially on the defense. Everyone just turned and looked to Bobby as that leader on the defense. So to bring in a guy like DeMarcus Lawrence, if you're a young pass rusher, if we take one in the draft or whatever, or even like you say, even just having Boye Mafe and Derek Hall, seeing a DeMarcus Lawrence come in there and knowing what he's done in the league, I think he's a 4-time Pro Bowler, second team All Pro, over 60 career sacks in the league. Superb pass rusher for many years, one of the best of his era. So to see him coming in, and it's not just a 1-year little rental thing. He's here for 3 years, $42 million. It's a decent commitment to him at 32. He's going to come in and be that, help build Mike Macdonald's kind of culture and his kind of leadership in the locker room for the next 3 years, and just reinsert that big character, big leader on that defense. Yes, we've got the likes of Ernest Jones and who is a big leader in there, and Devin Witherspoon's already a leader, and stuff like that. But we've not. That's just a true veteran who's been there, done it, worn the t-shirt, can say he's been one of the best in his position for many years, that just commands a bit of respect. And we haven't really had that since Bobby left, in my opinion. So to get him in on a decent contract, and with this, it's not just it's not just an investment into the sacks that you're going to get with DeMarcus Lawrence. It's that investment into the culture that he's going to help build. That 3 years, $42 million. Some people just look at it and go, 3 years, $42 million for an aging DeMarcus Lawrence. Like, why that's such an overpay. Why would they pay that? Well, it's not just the sacks that you buy in there with DeMarcus Lawrence, is it? For me, that's an investment by Mike Macdonald into, yes, we're going to get a few sacks out of him, but it's probably more of an investment into what he's going to help bring on after those 3 years that he's been here, and his culture moving forward. In my opinion, that's my opinion on Lawrence. Anyway, I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, I think with Lawrence as well, it's a dirty kind of. What's good? It's good. It's good. Like, people, you hear him. You look at Seahawks Twitter, social media, and people are like, and ahhing, what's this team going to be? What's this, that, and the other? But you sometimes you got to look a bit out. Like I've always said, anyone like who comes back to listen to the show from the podcast, they'll know all outside the box thinking. And for me, it's like, Dirty's clearly said, if he's available, I want him because of all the time he's at the Cowboys. And Mike's gone, okay, I have trust in you. So it kind of shows the chemistry and the wavelength them two are on together. What's a really good sign for all fans. It's a really good sign that Mike's putting faith in, what's his first name?
Aiden. Third, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Aiden, ADN or ADERN, one of the two.
Yeah. Sorry. Well, anyway, him. So it kind of shows that Mike has faith in him and trust in him to go and get his guy he wants for whatever reason. And like you said there, I do think we had a conversation. You said, "Oh, I don't think we need edge," but you can never not have enough rotation. So, like, I'm happy with it, and everything you said, you kind of like hit the nail on the head with it for me, because I was just going to go on to Ernest Jones. You were talking about leaders and this, that, and the other. If whilst you were saying that, I was just thinking, and bringing Jeremy Reed back, signing Ernest Jones to the money he deserves, and having Julian Love on the back end. You hear people talk about it all the time who either played the game or have been in it, like who have talked about it for years. It's the spine of the defense, and we have that spine now.
Yeah,
like that spine is there, and because Jeremy Reed is, again, he might be getting on in age, but Byron Murphy will absorb a lot from Jeremy Reed. So he's the top of it. Ernest Jones, leader, vocal. He's only just going to grow more, like you said, into like the Bobby Wagner type arc of everyone's going to start. Well, they were last year. He came in for 2 games, and people, it's almost like he was running the show. Like, and then you got Julian Love on the back end, who just controls and sorts out the back end, like Spoon and that. They that fucking energizer bunny. He looks at Julian to kind of like get himself set, and then he kind of just, because he's so elite himself, roams around and does what he wants. So, like the Ernest Jones re-signing, we literally have the spine of our defense there, and now we just need it to blossom. What kind of brings me onto my, I'm going to bring in the John segment now by saying, because I'll just let you blend your, like, everyone's frustration with the O line and stuff like that, but the O line just a lot, like, you can articulate that a lot better than that I can. But for me, I said it earlier, and for me, I am starting to see the double down on John. I'm starting to see him start it's almost like he's trying to reenact what him and Pete did when they first got together. All the menial signings we've not spoke about, like the just rotation of veteran cheap guys. Get them in, get them in, get them in. Right, they're not going to work. Cut them, cut them, cut them, cut them. Get them in, get them in, get them in. Cut them, cut them, cut them, cut them, cut them. It's almost like he is trying to repeat the formula of success from the very beginning. And I feel like he's making his own coffin at this current moment in time. For me, John Schneider is making his own coffin, and at the end of the season, he's either going to be lining it with the door shut, or he's going to be setting the thing on fire, laughing at everyone who hated on him. Like, that's where he is at the moment. This off season, he's essentially digging his own grave, making his coffin, and he's either going to be buried in it by the end of the year, or he's going to be filling that hole back in, smashing that coffin back up, and said, "You all said I was stupid and didn't know what I was doing. Well, fuck you." That's where I am with him now. But I'm just seeing so many parallels to them two when they first got together. At this current moment in time, getting in Matt Flynn, Sam Darnold, like we'll get on to the draft like with 55 minutes. Draft's fucking, that's like 2 hours with me and you. Well, we love so many guys, so I'm not going to get into there. But one thing's for certain, he's drafting at 1-2 quarterbacks. And the parallels are going, and it would not surprise me. People started saying it on social media. People started like leaving little things there. It would not surprise me if the way it's weirdly all looking parallel to each other, that a quarterback comes in and you end up getting a Russell Wilson, Matt Flynn situation going down. Like all the parallels are there, but for now, I mean, like kind of not in fairy tale world and like looking at it from that way. Yeah, he's digging his own grave and making his casket all at the same time at this moment in time.
He certainly is. I don't know. I mean, how long has he been here now? 16 years, 16, something like that. I mean, how long do we leave it before he learns that you have to invest in the offensive line? I don't understand it. My understanding of the situation is just non-existent. I don't. Every year we have the same exact issue on the offensive line, and that is that we don't have an offensive line. We certainly don't have an interior of an offensive line. You know, when Charles Cross and Abe Lucas are healthy, yes, they're decent tackles, but we go through a different starting center and a different starting pair of guards practically every season, and not just like one different center or one different right guard left. It's normally like 2 or 3 different guards in the season. We saw it last season, you know, Bradford, and then it was Laumea played there for a little bit when Abe Lucas was injured, and then he shifted into guard as well at times. Obviously at centre you've had Connor Williams, and then Connor Williams retires, which isn't a John problem, it isn't a John fault. But then you go into Oluwatimi, then you've got Jason Sundell behind him as well. You've got Laken Tomlinson. I mean, just like how many more Laken Tomlinsons do you want to sign? How many more of those kind of guys? How many more Brandon Shells? How many? You could just go on and on and on. How many more of these swing tackles, swing guards, swing centers do you want to sign on 1 year, 2 year, $4-6 million deals, and then just draft guys in rounds 5 to 7 and hope that they stick. Draft guys on day 2 and hope that they stick. Like I do not understand the strategy for a GM that had, when we were in the Super Bowl, a good offensive line and saw how valuable a good offensive line was. You know, and I don't get it. And then like you look at the guys that we've brought in for visits: Tevin Jenkins, Dylan Radins, Cole Van Lenen, like. Tevin Jenkins was probably would have been the biggest splash. If we'd have signed Tevin Jenkins, then people would have probably turned around and gone, "Oh, actually, that's a reasonable investment into a guard. All right, that's a bit of a change." But then we don't sign him, and then we bring in, like you say, these Cole Van Lenens of the world that would sign for one year $4 million. I mean, we have signed one, Josh Jones, I think he's called, isn't he, for 1 year for $4.75 million. I think he was one of the worst ranked on PFF last year in terms of guards. Like you know, these 40 odd ranked, 40.7 rankings on run blocking, and like what are we doing? That's just a waste of $4 million. That's just a waste. I can say now with confidence, Josh Jones is not going to be your answer at guard. Right? He's one year, $4.75 million. Right? And he's not been a starter anyway. He's been, and when he has been a starter, he hasn't been a starter for very long, from my knowledge anyway. Hence why he's a free agent and nobody else was signing him. But trust the Seahawks, eh? Hey, you must be, if you're an offensive lineman who's absolutely crap heading into free agency, you must be telling your agent just to ring the Seahawks phone off the hook and do a sales pitch, put a PowerPoint presentation together as to why you can be a great swing guard. I'll come in and start a couple of games. You can realize that I'm shit, and then you can bench me, and then just do your usual thing next offseason. it just every year we sign these kind of players. Your Josh Joneses of the world on a 1 year, $4 million deal. I'm not going to go back through history because A, I don't want to, and B, I can't remember them all. But I mean, so many pub quiz guards, so many pub quiz answers at right tackle. You know, it's just ridiculous at this point. Like, and we're saying here, you know, let's go into the draft. Let's draft a guard in round one. Let's draft Zabel in round one. We're not going to draft Zabel in round one. That would require John Schneider to draft a guard in round one. We're not going to draft a guard in round one. So you can forget about Booker. You can forget about Zabel. You can forget about anyone on that offensive line that you want in round one. We're not going to draft him. The only way we draft Zabel if he's in round two, because you're not John Schneider. It must be a Madden setting that he's got on his franchise save that he can't draft guards in round one on his franchise mode, because he just doesn't do it. So the draft starts in round two for offensive linemen or guards anyway, interior offensive linemen. It's just ridiculous.
I feel like Zabel would be good. I agree with you.
Be excellent, perfect fit.
But there's a lot of guards or tackles that, from like what I'm reading, so I don't fucking know line, but who would transfer into there's a couple in the second round that I like, but if we start down that route, we'll end up on the draft and we'll be here till about 11 o'clock at night chatting fucking absolute pure bollocks.
Hey, I'm comfy, I'm comfy.
No, we'll save it. We'll get some more viewers. I'll sort my social media acumen in and get it shared on the Twitter. Get some more people in there, because that draft for us causes so much division between people. It'll be a good one to try and accrue a group, and we can all just chop it up. I feel like.
Any word on John then for the offensive line, Pez, or?
You pretty much hit the nail on the head for me. It's just John in general. He, like I said to you, double down. Everything he's done this off season, this is his coming out party. This is his true. I'm the GM now, and I'm doubling down on all my philosophies. No more Pete getting in my way anymore. No more trying to appease him. I'm double down on everything.
Because what was good, I've got to say as well, it's like, I don't know whether you follow the baseball, Pez, but I quite like the baseball.
I'm trying.
You're trying. Well, like I say, I quite like the baseball. I've been into it for the last sort of 5 years. Been following the Mariners now, just because I follow all the Seattle teams, and it feels like the fans of that team are now just totally fed up with the lack of investment from ownership. That they're not going to the games in the numbers that they used to be doing. They've got a World Series standard pitching rotation, but they don't invest in bats. They've got the same batting lineup as they did last year. So the fans have just called the owners bollocks now and just had enough of it. And it feels like this off season with the Seahawks is very, very similar with John, because in years gone by, we kind of like laugh at like that. Oh yeah, there's John not signed an offensive lineman again, isn't that, that's funny, and it was kind of a bit of like just a joke really, like but nobody ever really kind of like, people were annoyed, but it wasn't like, it was kind of like whispered between people, and it was never really like a full on rebellion kind of thing. But it feels like this off season, like everyone has unanimously recognized that they've got all this cap space. They've got the most cap space I think John Schneider's ever had, possibly since he's been with the Seahawks. We had about 60 odd million, 70 million starting the off season, and we've still got 36 million sat there in cap now before the draft, which is far more than a lot of teams have anyway. So we're still got a load of money there to spend if we wanted to. And yet nothing. Like I think this is the first off season where fans really thought no, surely, even though he doesn't invest in offensive linemen, surely with that much cap space, surely he will do it anyway this offseason because we've got that much money, and like this is just the perfect chance to just do it, like just to get a Tevin Jenkins. And then when that hasn't happened, and fans are seeing him sign the likes of Josh Jones and visiting other guys that would sign on a 1 year $4 million deal kind of guys, I think the fans have just really, really turned in that segment of John. Now it feels like across the board, people have really had enough about. You're seeing him all the time on the Seattle radio, interviews where they're asking him about the offensive line all the time, and that never used to be the case. Really, it was always like, how are you going to fix it in the draft, or have you got a draft that is the guys that you like? Whereas it feels like the questions that he gets asked now on all these radio shows that I've seen this off season, it feels like the interviewers and the questions. It's so much of the focus has been on what we're doing on offensive line. Like even the guys hosting the shows are like what we're doing on the offensive line. Like we haven't signed one. Like you have not made a splash there. It's like what we're doing. Like it feels like a lot of pressure by not just fans but like actual media people have been putting quite a lot of pressure on John over this offensive line thing this season, more than I've ever seen. So I think if it goes wrong again and we don't find some good offensive lineman in the draft, like he's banking on, like you all said, like he's making his kind of, he's building it up to where like I'm expecting us to find one or two starters in the offensive line in this draft now. Otherwise, I'm going to call his bluff again. But if we don't do that and we come out of the draft and we come out of next season sitting in this exact same situation again, having found no more starters on the offensive line on that interior, it feels like that's something that he can't really come back from. It feels like people have really, really kind of like got the knife to his throat at this point. It's like you better find some starting offensive linemen on the interior in this draft, or there's going to be hell to pay. And I think that's a good thing because I think people are finally starting to go, do you know what? It's beyond a joke now. Like this is ridiculous now. This is like you've got so much money to spend, and yet we're still scrimping and saving on the same standard of guards that aren't going to work. That one year $4.75 million is going to be a waste of money. He's not going to be a starter. He's not. So why sign him? I'm hot. Mate, I'm hot under the collar, right? And I haven't even got a t-shirt on under this hoodie. I've not even got a t-shirt on under this hoodie, and I'm sweating.
I'm just letting you get it all out.
Oh,
just letting you go. The old line's not my thing, but I agree with everything you say. I know that for certain.
It's just banging your head against the same brick wall, and it's just doing my head in now. I've just had enough of it.
Yeah, I feel like if the O-line is shite again, like I know Jody is Jody, but I feel like he has nowhere to hide, because the thing is, I think what you might see happen is Mike is going into his third year. If he sees what everyone else sees and John's not willing to change, I think Mike might get a bit loud and start going, no, this isn't right. And then you might see a power struggle, what is never great. It's never great for an organisation for success. But you might see a power struggle if John's not willing to meet him in the middle, when Mike might then try and get loud on John, and you might see then miscommunication over things like accidental. But only time will tell. He's doubled down on Kubiak. John's doubled down on Kubiak because he's brought in his own line coach who's in the last 5 years at a top 10 offensive line every single year. So he's really preying on that.
But like you said as well, he's doubled down on the development of Bradford and Oluwatimi as well. So they better develop this year. Otherwise, that's going to look like another broken, false promise. You better be seeing something there.
Yeah. He's just, if arrogantly or not, he's just doubled down on himself, and that is going to be annoying. But we'll see in the draft, and then we'll see after the draft with cap casualties and stuff like that, what he does there. What will be an interesting conversation as we move forward through the off season. But it's like the beaten horse at this moment. You've kind of nailed everything you've seen people saying, like, but it is the beaten horse at the moment. It's like the most blatant, obvious thing I think there ever has been. As blatant as Pete Carroll talking absolute bullshit in his press conferences. So it'll be an interesting one to monitor anyway, going into the draft and then afterwards, for sure.
It's like taking your car to the mechanic. You know, fine well your engine's failed, but the mechanic says, "Oh no, it's your brake pedal." No, it's the engine. I know it's the engine. I can't start the car. The engine's the problem. No, all right. Well, let's just check your clutch. No, it's not. It's got nothing to do with the clutch. It's the engine. The engine is broken. The engine's failed. It's not the engine. Oh, let's just check your suspension as well. It might be no. It's the engine. Like it's the offensive line, and yet, oh man, I don't know. We better draft some starters on the interior, and the likes of Anthony Bradford and Oluwatimi and Sundell, Laumea, any of them, they better start making a leap into bona fide starters. He better be seeing something there. Otherwise, I don't know how I don't know what his defense is going to be. I don't know if I was his lawyer. This was a court case. I don't know what his defense would be if it goes tits up again. So I don't know. He's under a lot of pressure this year, John. As you say, it feels like he's under the most pressure he's been under for a while. With an offensive system now that wants to run the ball, you know, to not really invest anything in the offensive line. That's ballsy so far. So yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see how it plays out. If it doesn't play out the way he wants it to be, how he's going to approach that next off season with what excuses we'll see. But we'll see. He might surprise us all. We might take a guard in the first round. We don't know, but I'll refrain from going totally nuclear on him until the draft happens. And then if the draft happens and what I think will happen, and that doesn't happen, then maybe some more fruity language will come out. But we'll see. That's all in good time. All in good time. But is there anything else that we want to talk about tonight that we haven't talked about? Any players that you want to give a mention to that we haven't discussed? I think we touched on Lockett, didn't we? We touched on the guys that we've brought back. I don't think there's any, like you said, like we said before, we could sit here, everyone, and rattle through every player we've signed, but I don't know anything about River Craycraft. I don't know anything about River Craycraft. Yeah, so I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you for 5 minutes about River Craycraft. I'm not going to sit here and bullshit you about fucking Shamar John Chat. I don't know anything about them. So it was just talking about the big hitters tonight, and getting us back into the groove of things, which I think we've done nicely, bar a few hiccups here and there. But this is a new era. This is a new platform for us on StreamYard as well. Johnny in there with a question right at the end. What's that? Who is your favourite player to have played for the Hawks? For me, it's always been Doug Baldwin. He was the first jersey that I had. I'm a little guy myself, not the tallest, never have been. The Teesside Terrier, they used to call me, down on the Sunday League pitches. Oh yeah, you're laughing. You wouldn't want to have met me on the TGFA pitches on a Sunday. No, his attitude, first and foremost, his quality for me was amazing. One of the most underrated, a lot like Lockett is one of the most underrated receivers of his era, of his time. But just his attitude, he was cocky and he was good, and he knew that. But it was just so many memorable quotes and lines, and just such a great guy to have on your team. So for me, it was always Doug Baldwin, probably closely followed by a Cam Chancellor, and then in more recent times, maybe like a Chris Carson, or someone like that. I used to love Chris Carson. Such a shame that his injuries derailed his career, because man, he was a beast. But no, yeah, probably. Well, it is Doug Baldwin for me, followed closely by Cam Chancellor. Pez's is probably. Well, let me have a guess. I don't think you've ever told me. I don't think you've ever told me who your favourite player is. I would guess just how much he loves running backs. I would guess Marshawn Lynch.
I was going to say Marshawn, but I think I've got to go with Earl.
Earl's a good shout. I didn't like the way it ended with Earl, but
I don't give a fuck. The guy was a monster. Like,
yeah, he was a monster.
I just wish he didn't lose his fucking marbles and was still like, he went out the way he should have, because he's like the forgotten man now. Like, he should be a Hall of Famer, never going to get in there.
No, he's not. No.
But him, Tom, Bobby, brilliant.
Bobby's a good shout actually as well. But what about Steve Largent? Says Johnny. Do you know how old I am, Johnny? Steve Largent. I wasn't even an afterthought. Wasn't even an afterthought when Steve Largent was playing.
Okay, now.
A great player by all accounts, obviously. But
Johnny knows I'm waiting to have my tea, and he's just chucking in questions now to keep us going for another half.
Is it the beard? Do I look older than I am? Do I look about 60? Hey.
Okay, cryo chambers.
Hey, you never know. It's the
future. Right, Everett. Just come at the back end. He missed all the juicy stuff. I used to have his jersey. You have everyone's bloody jersey, Johnny. It's like a whole memorabilia office.
Johnny, did Johnny watch him live? Is that why he's saying Steve? Yeah. Matt has. Oh, don't start with that.
Right, you can have an argument over that. I'm going to the toilet.
We want the ball, or we're gonna score. Fucking Matt Hasselbeck.
Oh, cheers, Everett.
So I thought when you first said that, I thought you meant Gerald Everett, and I was about to fucking strangle you. Fucking Gerald Everett.
Gerald Everett's just coming to live stream just to like listen along.
Or brick hands, Gerald Everett. But no, yeah, I think if that's everyone that we've wanted to talk about tonight, if you're new to the show, by the way, we do have a tendency in the past certainly to have rambled on for 2 hours plus, because Pez, as he says, likes to take us down his Alice in Rabbit Land, Alice down Rabbit Hole Land, or whatever it's called.
I feel like I've been really good today.
You have, yeah.
It's not going to stay this way. I'll just tell you that for a fact.
That's a Lady Gaga song, isn't it?
It's just going to... Do you want to give away your favorite artist? You give away your favorite artist.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with a bit of Gaga. Nothing. Get that on a t-shirt.
Everett, no Giants chatting here, please. I know it's Ross, but that fucking video, right? He's done it. He's got me going. That video, that fucking... I sent it you and my brother. That's stupid. Yo, New York, we've got a deal. It's like, oh, fuck off, mate. What's your problem?
Wait, no. Don't tell me you thought that was real. Please don't tell me you thought that was real.
Of course it was.
It's not real.
It was.
It's not real. It's the same video from when he did it from when he extended with us.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. It was bad back then, and it is bad this time. I don't care if it was real or AI. It is fucking horrendous.
Fucking hell. AI is going to pull the wool over your eyes if you thought that was real. Listen to it. You can hear the fucking robotic voice say Giants.
I know, because I watched the video and I thought that's the one from Thingy, the recycling, and they changed the Giants. But do you know what? I just go along with it. Just go along with it, James. We don't need, we just can hate it. Is that all right with you?
Oh, I do, hate it? Yeah, I do hate it, yeah.
Right. It's an hour and 18 minutes in. I'm very hungry, right? So I'll start getting snappy. I appreciate Everett for listening in whilst he's at work, Johnny for all his sidebar questions. As we get rolling, we'll appreciate them a hell of a lot more. And anyone who comes across this and thinks, what the fuck is this? In my sentence, we do like to swear as well. So if anyone gets the knickers in a twist over a swear word, go and find someone else to listen to.
You talk about yourself. I'm a well-behaved Christian boy.
All right, yeah. How's that going to go when we sign our first O-lineman in the 5th round?
Hey, there's nothing that comes out of this mouth that God hasn't approved of. So I'm fine, mate. but no, I've really enjoyed getting talking Seahawks with you again, my friend, and with everyone who's been in there, everyone who's watching afterwards as well. Good to have you in here. We're going to talk about the draft soon coming up. Obviously, that's going to be our focus shifting towards the draft now when we're back on. But good to blow off the proverbial cobwebs tonight. I think my microphone literally did have cobwebs on it, so it's not proverbial; it's literal. That's what you get living down the side of my desk for a year not being used. But no,
where you going with that then?
You what?
I was wondering where you were going with that then. That's what happens when you're living down the side of my desk. You fucking tell me.
My desk's a safe space. You wouldn't find anything that you shouldn't be finding in my desk. So that's a shocking implication that was going to take a nasty turn. That's
what you said about Jimmy Savile as well, but look what happened with him.
Unbelievable that you managed to get that reference in at 1 hour 21. Fantastic. But I was ending this on a lovely side off, and you brought him up. Fantastic. But no, draft.
I'm going to hijack you again, Everett. We will get you on at some point. If this time of the day for you is a good time, this is roughly the time we like to do our show. So Absolutely. We'll definitely get you on during the off season. We'll chop it up.
100%, and that statement goes out to anyone watching as well. If you want to get involved, we're always happy to get people involved. So yeah, been really good. You can head over to our social media as well. In the meantime, We Talk Seahawks. You can find us on X, as it's now called, I believe, as Pez is admitted that he's going to get better. He's promised us that he's going to get better with his X and sharing on X. So
I'll dust the cobwebs off on that bloody thing as well.
Good. So no, like I say, tonight was off season, and then we're going to get back onto the draft. Moving forward, we're going to be totally focused on the draft now, as we move towards that very exciting time. And as we said tonight, a big draft for the Seahawks moving forward. So there's going to be plenty to talk about with that coming off the back of that. So really looking forward to talking about the draft. But as for tonight, thank you very much to all of you who are listening, tuning in, wherever you're getting us. Thank you very much. It's always very much appreciated. Glad to have you back with us, and thank you for joining us tonight if you're brand new as well. But for now, I wish you all a fine farewell. Pez, thank you for joining me as always, and go Hawks.
Go Hawks.